We start off with the women's elimination chamber match between Rhea Ripley, Tiffany Stratton, Asuka, Kiana James, Raquel, and Alexa Bliss. This was a good women's elimination chamber match. Starts off with Alexa Bliss being the first one getting eliminated. Asuka ended up hitting the miss on Alexa while Alexa was going for the sister Abigail. Thank God she got eliminated because I've been saying this for months with Alexa Bliss and her finisher, where she takes a million years in aura forms with that finisher. It finally cost her. It finally cost her, as it should, because my God, I be saying that every time she does that finisher. She just aura forms for like 30 seconds and then just hits it. It's like, thank God she got eliminated with that, because thank God Asuka eliminated her with that. I actually enjoyed that. She gets eliminated first. Then eventually Raquel enters the ring and she looked amazing. She was the MVP for me personally in this women's champion match. She looked very dominant. She was just completely destroying everybody. She ended up getting a double pin on Kiana James and Asuka, pinning them at the same time, which I thought was amazing. Later in the match, getting Tiffany Stratton eliminating Raquel. So this eventually led to Rhea Ripley and Tiffany Stratton being the final two who were the favorites of this match. Rhea Ripley do end up picking up the victory. I enjoyed this personally. I enjoyed it. I know some people are going to hate it, but let's just be realistic here. Rhea Ripley was the best choice in terms of a big money match draw that's going to get the most eyeballs, that's going to really get you invested. Rhea Ripley was the best choice. Tiffany Stratton, I wouldn't have minded as much because she does have the best story here. Well, she's the only one that has a story with Jade, but we've seen it so many times. It's like at that point, it's like we've seen it too many times to really care, and then no one else really have a story or really has the star power to really make it work. The only person that will really kind of work is Alexa Bliss, but that only works if you make it with Charlotte. But then at that point, you're kind of just not making your champion feel important because she's basically a third wheel because the main story is Charlotte and Alexa, so that would have been weird. So Rhea Ripley was the best choice. I enjoy what they're doing here. Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill should be an interesting battle. Low key, this potentially could be a night one main event. I don't think they will get it, but it could potentially be a night one main event. Now, a lot of people are mentioning this mainly because every year fans get this fake outrage every year of the women not getting a main event. Look, we got to stop this thing of just because they're women, they need the main event. I don't know where this thing is coming from. Like, people want women to be treated just like men until it's time for them to be treated like men. If they don't have the story, it's not worthy of the main event. It's just not. Like, until they get the story that's worthy, it shouldn't main event. That's just how I feel. You got to earn it. Now, they have the star power to main event. Do they have the story? Majority of the time, no. Last year was the closest they have gotten, but the story wasn't really there. Plus, they was competing with CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman, which was a better story, mainly due to the Paul Heyman angle. So this is the best opportunity for them to get that main event if they really want it, because on the men's side right now, there's really no story that's really that compelling. Like, the only one, now I know they're not going to get it because they're going to give Cody that spot, but from a story perspective, they don't really have it right now. So if Jade and Rhea can really like tell a interesting story and make it an interesting feud, I would actually root for that being the night one main event, in my opinion. I would actually say they deserve it if they have the story that's better than the man. But overall, I enjoy what they did here. I like how they're pushing. I like what they did here overall. She was the best obvious choice. She was the only choice that made real sense to really get people invested into the match with Jade Cargill to really improve her title reign. So I'm excited for that match. We end up getting the Women's Intercontinental Championship match between AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch. This was actually a solid match. I really enjoyed this match. This was really good. Basically, we end up getting a turnbuckle spot. Becky tries to use the turnbuckle. Ends up costing her in the end because she ends up running into the turnbuckle towards the end. It was a moment where we end up getting a ref bump. AJ taps out Becky Lynch, but the ref doesn't see it. But eventually, later in the match, the turnbuckle comes into play. Becky hits it, and then they end up doing the same submission spot. AJ taps her out again for like the 5th time. But AJ Lee is your new Women's Intercontinental Champion. I'm not really mad at it because that is what I predict. I did assume that she was going to win. I'm assuming eventually they're going to run a rematch at WrestleMania. I personally don't want to see that because I just don't care for the feud, but I do understand where they could potentially go, especially with Becky Lynch's character, with her thinking this being like this conspiracy theories where she thinks everyone's after her, that she's not losing these matches, and that everyone is just coming after her, that it's everyone else's fault while she's going to lose these matches. I could definitely see her coming up with some dumb reasoning for why she tapped out. So definitely can see this playing out. Plus, there's really no one else for AJ Lee to face for that championship, because everyone else is busy right now. So it's really just Becky Lynch at this point. But nonetheless, it was a really good match. It exceeded my expectations. I enjoyed the match for what it was. Assuming they're going to run a rematch at WrestleMania, which I'm assuming AJ Lee will lose due to her part-time schedule, because we don't need a part-time champion. We don't. Plus, they end up doing the thing which I thought they was going to do, which was going to have CM Punk, AJ hold up both their titles, holding it at the same time, you know. So it was a feel-good moment, so I enjoyed it for what it was, but I'm assuming Becky Lynch will get her championship back at WrestleMania. Now for the men's World Heavyweight Championship match between CM Punk versus Finn Balor. I'm not going to really go that in depth on this match because I already knew who was going to win this match, where at least with AJ Lee and Becky Lynch, you could at least see either way. This one, we knew Punk was winning. Punk won very cleanly in this match, so it's probably going to be some friction between the Judgment Day on Monday Night Raw, especially because I think on Monday Night Raw, Dominic has a match against Penta for the IC title, so maybe they're going to cause some friction. Maybe Finn costs Dominic the title. Who knows? But we know it's going to be some friction there. I'm hoping Monday they kick Finn Balor out the group. I really hope so, because we need to hurry up with this Judgment Day storyline. We knew that this match was predictable. We knew who was going to win this match. It's time to move on with Finn Balor. I'm cool with him losing, because let's just move Finn Balor away from the world title scene, so all the delusional Finn Balor fanboys can stop crying and whining how he's not going to be world champion, because he's never going to be world champion. It's been 10 years. If he ain't got it by 10 years, he's not getting it again. So let's remove him so we can end this conversation of Finn Balor fans thinking he's going to magically win the big one. He's not winning that. So I'm assuming this is going to eventually lead to the Dominic and Finn Balor feud, either for the IC title or without it. What's next for Punk? We already know what's next for Punk. The Night 2 main event against Roman Reigns, which I can't wait, because Roman will be returning very soon. So I can't wait to see how that builds. Moving on to the mystery crate, mystery box, whatever. End up being revealed that it is Danhausen, which I don't understand what Triple H was thinking with this. Now, I didn't have high hopes for this, because I did say be prepared to be disappointed. Now, I thought it was going to be an ad. I thought it was going to be a WWE 2K26 ad, but it ended up being Danhausen, which I don't understand why. Like, why did Danhausen get such a big reveal at this pay-per-view? The fact that they did a big tease and a big reveal is the disappointing part, because Danhausen is a niche comedy gimmick. He's not a serious character. So we already know he's not going to be a real person to really take seriously, because he ended up getting booed after the initial pop. That's the thing that's frustrating. Like, it would have made sense for this to be Chris Jericho or someone that you know could be in the main event scene. But Danhausen is just going to be a niche comedy character, bro. Like, what are we doing here? This is like if R-Truth returned. Like, R-Truth is great, but like, before they was doing the Ron Killings gimmick thing, we're talking about like just comedy R-Truth. It's like what? Like, it's R-Truth. We know what his role is. We know he's just going to be there for comedy. This is what Danhausen. Danhausen is not going to win any titles. He's not going to be a serious threat. So you doing this big review, it's just like, why? It's just confusing to me. This would have made more sense for you to do this for someone like Jade Cargill or something like that. Because at least Jade Cargill, you're pushing her in the main event scene. Like, that makes more sense. But like, for Danhausen of all people, you do this big thing. Like, I don't understand it. I don't get it. It makes no sense. I don't really understand what was the point of waiting weeks for fucking Danhausen. Like, and he's not a good wrestler. Like, I just don't care. I'm just not interested, because again, we know what his potential and ceiling is. He's a fucking niche gimmick. Again, no disrespect to him. He does what he does well. But again, we know how he's going to be booked, because that's his character. That's his gimmick. He's not winning anything. So it's like, why is this big reveal for a comedy here? I don't mind the wait in the big reveal. It's the person behind it. Even if it was Chris Jericho, who I don't think should be in the main event scene, it's Chris Jericho. He's a future Hall of Famer, main eventer. Like, that makes sense. But for Danhausen, a comedy relief character, like, that's the part that's frustrating, and I don't understand Triple. I don't understand it. This was terrible. This was bad. Now, I'd rather it be an ad, dead ass. I know that sounds offensive, but I'd rather it be an ad, because at least an ad, it makes more sense, because I understand it from a money perspective. This, I don't even understand it. This doesn't make sense from a booking standpoint. Money ass, I just don't understand it. But maybe someone else can convince me that this was at least a okay decision, but this made no sense. Now we get the main event for the men's Elimination Chamber match between Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Logan Paul, and LA Knight. This was a solid match. We end up getting Logan Paul having a very dominant performance. He ended up eliminating 3 out of the 6 people in this match. 3 out of the 5, technically, due to him being one of the 6. He ended up eliminating Trick Williams, Javon Evans, and LA Knight, which was kind of crazy. I'm assuming Bronson Reed was originally going to do that, which I don't mind. Now, I know people are going to hate that Logan Paul eliminated 3 people, which I do think was a bit excessive, but at the end of the day, does it really matter? Now, I don't think he should have eliminated all 3 of them. I agree. But it's not that big of a deal because, one, this doesn't really hurt their credibility at all. It's not going to really change anything. So this doesn't really hurt them anyway. And plus, they weren't winning the fucking match, so it really don't matter. Some things you just can't complain about because it's not that big of a deal. Like, I know some people, like someone was complaining that Alexa Bliss got eliminated first. I'm just like, she had no shot of winning anyway. Like, she didn't get buried. It's like, it's not that big of a deal. She wasn't going to win anyway. It's not that serious. So we end up eventually getting down to the 3 between Logan, Randy, and Cody Rhodes. We end up getting the mystery on the Masked Man. He comes out. They end up doing like a fake Masked Man in this match, but they end up catching him. Then they end up getting the real Masked Man inside the ring, which ended up being Seth Rollins. He takes out Logan Paul. With Seth being revealed as the Masked Man, it makes perfect sense. No one else would have made sense here. I don't know why people was actually trying to reveal and guess who the Masked Man was. Like, we all knew it was going to be Seth Rollins. It only made sense. Now, my only question is Austin Theory a mole? Because what was the point of Austin Theory using Seth Rollins' moves in order to just be revealed that like, that's the only thing I'm confused by, because Austin Theory has to be working with Seth Rollins, right? Because why would Austin Theory was using his moves as the Masked Man if he's not working with Seth Rollins? That's the only thing that's confusing. But nonetheless, it makes perfect sense. But then we end up getting Drew McIntyre interferes in the match, attacks Cody. Randy hits RKO, Cody hits a crossroads, and then Randy Orton ends up hitting an RKO on Cody Rhodes, which I love. Randy Orton was the best option. I said it was the best option because you could go multiple angles with this. Because Cody Rhodes will get eventually into that match with Drew McIntyre or potentially win it back, because there is a WWE Championship match on SmackDown due to Drew McIntyre interference, because Nick Aldis has had enough. He told him to stop interfering. He can't stop interfering. So now he has a match against Cody Rhodes on SmackDown next week, which I find very interesting, because if Cody Rhodes wins that WWE Championship, Drew McIntyre is the dumbest world champion ever, because he's been constantly interfering in matches to prevent Cody from winning the title back, only for him to give Cody a world title match anyway. So Drew McIntyre has to be the dumbest champion, which needs to be talked about more, because people love to criticize Sami Zayn for being quote unquote dumb, for him being too nice. Well, Drew McIntyre is being an asshole, and he's being even dumber. Like, so we'll see how that plays out, because I could potentially see them having Cody beat Drew only to run Randy and Cody for the Mania match. Because if that's the Mania match, that's the night one main event. I'm sorry, ladies, that's the night one main event if Cody and Randy win. I hope that's not the case. I'd rather just get the multi-man match, because if you're just going to do Randy and Cody anyway, that kind of feels like the whole Jacob Fatu, the constant attacks, it's kind of useless. Because, again, if Cody beats Drew before Mania, that just makes everything Drew did was kind of pointless, and Drew was basically a weak-ass champion, because it's like all he did as champion was just constantly run away, constantly interfere, and then basically look like a bitch, basically. So I'm hoping that's not the case, because I'd just rather have the multi-man match, to be honest with you. Plus, I feel like, now, even though I think Randy and Cody would have a better story, I just feel like it would just be a waste of Drew's character and Jacob Fatu if they're not in the title match. That's just me personally. But I do understand if people want the Cody and Randy match. But overall show, I thought was a decent show. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. Very predictable. I don't think it was a bad show just because it was predictable, but it does ruin it a bit due to how predictable it is. Plus, the storylines aren't that interesting going into WrestleMania. So that's why it's not as entertaining. It was a fine show. This was a show that you didn't really need to watch for the most part. I will agree. Outside of the Seth Rollins reveal, you didn't really need to watch the show. I'm going to be honest with you. So I did thought it was still enjoyable for me personally, but it was a very predictable show. But you guys let me know overall thoughts and opinions down below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my content. But yeah, that's it.